out on the T-Bird, the Everly Brothers on the radio. For a lot of folks, this would be just like coming home. And come July 5th, that's just what Phil and Don Everly will do. They'll come home to Shenandoah.
Hello, emptiness.
This southwest Iowa town of 5,200 is getting ready for a concert that some folks still don't believe will come off. The Everly Brothers will make a stop in the middle of their comeback tour, and the businessman responsible for the homecoming is keeping his fingers crossed.
It took a long time for them to decide to come. It took almost 2 years for them to come to that decision, but we're glad they did.
Phil and Don made their debut on Shenandoah's KMA radio when they were just 6 and 8 years old. They stayed through high school, moved to Nashville, and 3 years later, bye-bye love, bye-bye love, I know love. Many hits and one breakup later, they're doing music videos, and they may shoot another at the parade July 5th. Later that night, they'll do their second Shenandoah parking lot concert. The first was 40 years ago in the Studebaker lot.
Probably the thing I remember most was the manners. They had just superb manners. So I guess that might be a credit to their parents.
The Everlys plan to donate part of the gate to a new scholarship fund. Highway 59 through town will become Everly Brothers Avenue, and a little bit of the past will become new again.
Bye-bye, my love. Bye-bye. Bye-bye, my love.
They're talking about today's homecoming celebration honoring 2 local boys made good. Our Eye on Iowa reporter Dana Carden says thousands of people turned out to welcome home the Everly Brothers.
It wasn't so much a celebration as it was a reunion for Don and Phil Everly. They had come home to Shenandoah to fond memories and old friends.
You was a hell of a runner. You'd have been a track man.
You know what? Wait, did anybody hear that?
Wait a minute.
That's confirmed. I could have been a hell of a runner.
They threw a little parade for the Everly boys that attracted thousands of people from throughout the Midwest. It's hard to say who was having a better time, though, the fans who would run up to kiss the two and shout from the sidewalk, or the brothers themselves, who seemed genuinely happy to be home.
Hey, that's the bakery, Donald. There's the bakery we used to get the sweet rolls. But isn't that it?
Don and Phil started their music career on Shenandoah radio station KMA. After they left, they made it big with such hits as Bye Bye Love and Wake Up Little Susie. And though they said goodbye to their hometown, they held on to the values learned there while growing up.
One thing about this heartland is that people here know how to keep your head on your shoulders and your feet on the ground. And that really serves you well as you travel the world.
Hi, Donnie. Good to see you.
Smartest kid in the class.
Yeah, that's right. You were.
Well, that's pretty good to me.
The singing team broke up in 1973, but got back together 10 years later. The Everly Brothers say they wanted to come to Shenandoah to perform a concert in their old hometown, something they haven't done since they left in 1953.
Wake up, little Susie, wake up.
It's hard to believe that it's been 30 years since the Everly Brothers first left Shenandoah to make it big in the music business, though they say they feel they've never really left their hometown. But finally, now after 3 decades of performing on stage, they feel they're finally good enough to play for the folks back home. Dana Carden, Eye on Iowa, Shenandoah.
Wake up, little Susie.
Poe Eatery, who has his caboose on the line. He started organizing this event 2 years ago and is responsible for the estimated $110,000 it cost for the 7-band concert that started at 2 this afternoon.
Tuition's pretty expensive first time out.
It sure didn't rain on the Everly's parade at noon, though, with Iowa Governor Terry Branstad there to greet the boys who lived about 8 years in Shenandoah and did a radio show there in the early 50s. And Don and Phil, riding in their 55 Caddy, could all but smell the memories.
Seeing the bakery where we used to get sweet rolls right after the radio show. I've never had a sweet roll as good, and I've looked for them all over the world.
And what kind of kids were the Everlys in Shenandoah? Oh, pretty good.
Jim Danielson, Larry Greenwald, and I did throw some rocks at one of the lights one time, but we missed.
I suspect the Everlys live in slightly better digs right now. This one is so small that you have to go outside to change your mind. But one thing hasn't changed. Iowa still is in the boys. Peter Citron, Action News Tonight.
Shenandoah, Iowa. But it was here that they actually got their start in show business on their father's morning radio show. Even though they made it to the top, their homecoming humbled them.
You really want this show to be the best, and if we croak and scratch and wail up there and it doesn't really work out, I can only apologize, but we were trying real hard to be in perfect shape, but I couldn't sleep last night thinking about coming home.
Die-hard fans lined the street of Shenandoah as the Everly brothers made their procession down Main Street, and for some of them, it was like a dream come true.
I fell in love with Phil Everly when I was about 12 or 13 years old, and I just never grew out of it.
The crowd on hand for tonight's concert renewed their love affair with the Everly brothers as Don and Phil sang some of the hits that made them famous. Morning radio show. Their mother, Margaret, still reminisces about getting up each morning to make it to the station on time for the 6 a.m. broadcast.
My husband would, if it was winter time, like it was a lot of times was, and cold, he'd go out and start the car. I would make hot chocolate for them, and they'd drink the hot chocolate and get in the car, and we'd take off for the radio station. Regardless, we never missed a morning.
The popularity of live radio began to wane in the late 50s, and the family eventually settled in Nashville, where the Everly brothers got their big break.
Bye-bye, love. Bye-bye, happiness. Hello, loneliness. I think I'm a bye-bye.
Bye-bye Love was their first hit. It shot to the top of the charts in 6 weeks. Mrs. Everly says it was like a miracle, but she'll never forget the struggle it took to get there.
During the lean years, well, I would keep us all going with making spaghetti and making spaghetti sauce, and I'd water down those spaghetti sauce to make it last. So after Bye-Bye Love came out, Don came in to me one day, and he said, "Mother, you don't have to water down the spaghetti sauce anymore." I was still watering down the spaghetti sauce.
Mrs. Everly says her sons broke up in the early 70s because they needed to get away from each other for a while. But she was glad when they reunited a few years ago. Margaret Everly will be in Shenandoah this weekend for the Golden Age of Radio celebration. The Everly brothers will appear in Shenandoah July 5th for their Homecoming 86.
Homecoming 86, a big success in our hometown of Shenandoah. And you guys got a minute? What's up? I've got a couple things I'd like to hand to you. One thing that I've never figured out, one of you was born in 37, the other was born in 39, I was born in 38. How the devil did you keep your hair?
We buy it now.
You buy it now? Okay. Well, guys, it's really great to have you home, and we're doubly honored to have you here. And as a member of the Congress of the United States, we're initiating an award for outstanding events in various communities throughout the district. And I want to give the first one to you two fellas for your appreciation of coming.
Thank you, Congressman. Thank you very much. It's our pleasure. It really is. There's no place like home. You all make it that way. There's a famous saying that says you can't go home again, but I think we proved that you can. Yeah. Thank you all. Donald? Okay.
Running alongside the car today as we were going down the street, this man says, "I'm the mayor, I'm the mayor." I hope he's got his breath because we want to have him come up and speak now. Okay, Lord, will you come up, please? Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sure that you're not half as excited at being here today as I am. It's a thrill. I got a thrill during the tape just to get to walk out and shake their hand. I was kidding the folks I was with. I said, "I'll bet that really excited them to get to shake my hand." You know, it's been many years since you've been back to Shenandoah. We want to assure you that it will not be that long before you come back again.
And because somebody might inadvertently lock the door to the north end of the street or the south end, we made keys to the city to be presented to you. And in short, they will read. I forgot my glasses.
We need ours too.
Key to the city of Shenandoah, presented to Don Everly, July 5th, 1986. Don, thank you. Congratulations for coming.
Thanks very much, Mayor.
I appreciate you being here. Thank you.
all. Thank you. I don't even know how to put things in words, and I don't want to be jumping up here talking every time, but this is the nicest thing that's happened to me, you know? It really is. Just wonderful. Thank you very much.
There's milestones in everybody's life. The reunion concert was one of ours. And this day is going to stand out forever. Really. It says now I'm supposed to say a few nice words in dedication to the boys for being here. I've been rocking with them for the last couple of days. Out on the road, and I'm amazed that they hold up so well. Being beat to death by, while the buses look great, they pound pretty hard on you. And when you leave Minnesota and go to an extreme corner of South Dakota, and then you lose track of where you're going, and you come back down here, they put in a pretty grueling last couple of days. And yet they look nice and fresh, considerably younger than Jimmy and I do. I don't have any hair either like he is. But we all wanted them to know that coming back was worth it, and we wanted them to know that the community deeply appreciates their being here and living here and coming back and sharing their lives with us. And having been on the road with them several times before for short periods of time, let me tell you, they're still fine young boys, as one lady said today.
Fine old man, Jim.
No, you're young.
And at some point in the show, Donald's going to say rock and roll forever, and I think they're going to live long enough to do it. I'm going to have Bill Hillman come up to make the presentation of the street sign.
The word I have most for this is that we're so proud of these guys, and we're happy they're back. And I have more in common than these other people because I have all my hair. My dad still tells me I have too much hair. But we'd like to give a sign to each one of these guys. Oh, get them apart. Well, you're going to have to move in together.
Stuck together, too, so it's okay.
Who wants the broken one?
Oh, here. Either side.
Oh. Good guy.
Thank you so much.
There it is. Just unveiled it on the corner.
All right.
Every time you go through town, think of these guys.
So great. We love you all. Thank you so very, very much for coming out like this. It's just fantastic.
Thank you.
This will give me direction to get to my living room.
Well, now we know where to come when we come home. So, thank you so much. Everybody going to come to the concert?
You know, I got to say one more thing. Jim Danielson's my oldest and dearest friend. He knows more about me than any living person in the world, you know. And I just want you to say thank you to Jim Danielson for me, would you?